him working for the dark side and him promoting what he promoted. And he said something that made me say that he aware that he being used, but he trapped in it. So what's your thing? What's your thing on that, Roy? On the artists, they say they took a deal, sold a soul, or this to do this promote this type of agenda for the dirty hand. What's your take on that? The people that say they sold a soul, or they can't do nothing about it. They already in too deep. Ain't no turning back. Go ahead.
That's the biggest crock of BS I ever heard. You cannot sell your soul. You can't sell your soul. That's like trying to sell somebody out of space. If they fool enough to buy it, sell it. But you can't sell your soul. That's the first thing. But what you can sell is your soul's expression in this 3D reality. Right? You can sell your services in this 3D reality. You can sell access to your skills in this 3D reality. The only thing they can do to compromise you is contract you to what you can and cannot do. But the contracts have to have a time limit. There's no such thing as an infinite contract, right? The contract can be challenged at any time by either party in the contract, right? But when you find out that somebody got a contract in your name that you didn't sign, like child support, right? I never signed no contract that if I have a child, I'm supposed to pay. That's not in the Constitution. Where you get that from? Right? That's called arbitrary action. An arbitrary action means you took it up on yourself to do this because you felt like it. Right? You can't sell your soul, but you can sell your soul's expression, and you can surrender that expression to the people you sell the control to. They get to tell you how you behave if you want to maintain this, what you asked for. You never knew that if you maintained your own control and used your talents for yourself, that you still can have that same lifestyle, but you won't be compromised, and you'll probably have a higher echelon lifestyle because you're not controlled no more. You on mute, Elder.
Hey, Sophia asks, shout out Sophia. Sophia asks, why do they kill off the firstborn?
It's the first heir.
Okay.
Okay. It's called I think we did a show on this. It's called the sacrifice of first blood.
Yeah, we did, yeah. The blood.
Right.
Blood secrecy.
Blood. Yeah, sacrifice of first blood. The first blood, the first child is the first blood of the mother's womb. Right? And the purpose of killing the firstborn is you killing the first heir. The first person with what we call the right to the throne. Right? Now, the story go back to the Moses story, which is the Akhenaten story, right? Of the Exodus and the plagues, where he said, I killed the firstborn. In the royal families, right? When they wage war, they don't always openly fight with their people. Sometimes they use espionage and assassination, right, in order to maintain their power structure. This is how Caligula ended up being repeatedly raped by his uncle, who was trying to make him unfit to rule. Right? And because he was unfit to rule, all his dirt came out in the open. Caligula and his uncle. What'd he do? Soon as he got power, he raped his uncle back. Right? That's tyranny. It's hereditary. Okay, so now the first blood is a sacrifice in mysticism and religion. The sacrifice of the first blood is talking about the blood of the innocent. And there's also the power position of a potential first heir. That power position being usurped when the first child dies, it had to go to a next of kin, another child. But the right now is no longer determined by first in line, first in time. Now it's governed by who's most qualified to fill the position. And then it changes the way that you can ascend to the throne, right? Only the most ambitious is going to do what's required to ascend to the position. And the ambitious one is the one that don't mind putting in the work in order to be qualified to perform the task that he's out to do. So he live his life developing his skills to be the best whatever that he can be. If you got a higher calling, you learn to be a whole lot of things in the course of unraveling who you are. Because the things that you develop as an external skill becomes a mirror from which you to see an innate ability. Right? And so it's all part of ascension, ascending, waking from the slumber, getting back on the right path.
Somebody asked, shout out Jedi. I don't understand the question, but I guess he's saying, what's up with the birthright move? The birthrights move.
We're talking about the Senate, the Supreme Court ruling on birthright citizenship. That's going back to, so that's going back to like Dawes role and the fallacy of slavery being exposed through the revocation of the birthright citizenship. Because actually what really birthright citizenship is all of the outlaw children that wasn't part of the treaty clans, right? They automatically was giving them citizenship to enslave them without their knowledge. That's all that was.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Right.
Yeah.
By getting rid of the birthright citizenship, it allows or frees up the outlaw tribes to acknowledge self, to be self, recognize yourself, recognize your kindred, recognize who you is from the original people of the land. They can't tell you we foreigners, but they can tell you we bad, and they can attack us in the name of something called good.
Yeah.
Right? All the time, they don't even belong here, and all this bad that they using as justification for them to enforce their good wouldn't even be here if the bad guy wasn't playing good cop, bad cop with us.
Yeah. Somebody asked, Squid, I think his name is, can you explain the last name White and its origin?
Yeah,
go ahead.
That goes back to the White Rose and the Masonic Lodge. Blue House, White Rose, the White family. Right? The Browns tie back to Cleveland. Football team is used to tag the location where the Brown family's longest ancestry stood. So they gave them a sports team and called them the Cleveland Browns, right? But when you're talking about the whites, you got to also remember in Spanish, they blanco, jefe blanco, blanco grande, right?
Mm-hmm.
What they're talking about is the boss hog in the white suit, right? He always come in the white suit, jefe blanco, right? That was a status symbol in the culture of people that don't wear suits. But if you go back to the Confederacy, what they told you was gray coats was actually white coats. But the white coats became gray in the time of war through soiling. Couldn't keep it white.
Yeah.
So when you see it in the black and white picture, it looked great.
Yeah.
Dingy white.
Yeah, it makes sense.
From fighting in the war.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Right. And so all of this tie back into the movement of the people on the land. Right. The names came from a ranking system. Right. The Red family. Right. Sometimes they call it the Reed family. The Reed family or the Red family, they tie back to Red Sox, right? What's that? Baltimore?
Yeah, Baltimore Red Sox.
Yeah. So the Red Sox, SOCKS. So the Red Sox is there to tell you something. Why is the Sox red? For walking through the blood. This family had to walk through the blood, and they came out of the Boston region, and now we talking New England states.
Christmas
States
attitude.
that was governed by New England, right? So first, they had the bloodbath, right? And the bloodbath spilled over on the land. And the first to walk through the bloodbath was the ones called the Reds, the Red Sox. Right? They used the sports team to mark the area where the most prominent clan was from and made the clan out to be the mascot.
Yeah, hey Rod, you ain't lying about this because Doc talk about some of that in the like the Heisman Trophy and the Oscar Trophy. All these trophies they got, they come from certain things that we already had.
Yeah, that guy on the Heisman, that's Paul Robeson.
Go ahead.
We forget that because he was a theater man, that he was also a superstar, multifaceted athlete. He know before Bo was know.
Yeah.
Right. He was a football star, a baseball star, and it was something else. So another sport he played probably was track and field or something. But he was a major athlete in college in 3 different sports. He was also the captain of the theater team, right? The poetry team. He was the top person, regardless of skin color, no matter what field of study he went into.
Dang, that's deep. I had to go do some search on
right.
Dude.
The Heisman Trophy not named after him, but the man on the statue is
him. Yeah.
patterned after him.
Yeah.
Right. So brother. It's the same with the Oscar. It was a brother that the Oscar is named after.
Yeah.
But we didn't know that you get the Oscar for being the having assimilated the artistic expression in your one drop. That's what that was about.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's some deep.
You already gonna win if you look like us. We don't want you in it. Don't got nothing to do with you. So they barred us from it.
Makes sense.
Right? They barred us from it, not because we didn't deserve it, because we wasn't supposed to be part of the contest.
Yeah.
We got more than a drop of blood. We got gallons of that shit. Yeah. we have an unfair advantage. Right? We Mike Tyson on steroids. And they are old Roy Jones.
Yeah.
Come on, man. They don't stand a chance. We are prime Mike Tyson on steroids against an aged Roy Jones. Better yet, an old Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah.
Right. We have an unfair advantage in size, strength, and the ability to use the expression of the soul to excel in anything we apply intelligence, strength, and know-how to.
That's facts.
We not the ones that need to assimilate one drop of blood. Therefore, we don't need the stage. It's not our show. That's what the whole struggle was about, keeping us out of the show because it wasn't our show.
Mm.
Why y'all keep trying to get in these other folks' business under their own vine and fig tree? Make your own lane. So we made our own lane. But we got to do something different because y'all can't use our access. We trying to do something here. This will explain to you why you see odd associations, but when you understand Masonic ties, they talk that divided shit in the public, but they ain't divided in the smoke-filled rooms, as Farrakhan called it.
No.
Why? Yeah, they know how no differences. They the same.
They all God.
They don't see no skin color. They don't see no height. They don't see no weight. All they see is effectiveness. But we out here because they being effective, feeling like victims. Because we don't want to grow. Mm-hmm. So they put us between a stressor and a buffer, severity and mercy, Joaquin and Boaz. And they use that to whoop the people from pillar to post until they wake their ass up. And so I come and explain it. So when you see it, you can't unsee it. When you hear it, you can't unheard it. You understand?
Right.
So, yeah. Hey, look.
Hey, what's that?
You know, from ADX, right?
Uh-huh.
I got to put this in the public domain because it was in the Chicago Tribune.
Okay.
So if y'all want to know more about the story than what I'm going to tell you, it's a Larry Hoover story in the Chicago Tribune. It's about 3 days old now. They reported that somebody had sent a letter from ADX as if it was him.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But they said they know it wasn't him because he wasn't in ADX when the letter got placed in the mail. Right. Now, they said that the letter was on a letterhead of stationery from a Masonic lodge that Larry Hoover didn't have access to, being in prison for 60 years, 50 years.
Yeah.
Right. And they said that the symbols on it was Masonic in nature. This is in the article. Right. Now, as you scroll down further in the article, the reason why I'm bringing this up, because the next part is exactly what I said that they need to do. It tell you exactly, almost word for word, that they had to apply to the parole board with special circumstances, but they didn't say it that way. They was explaining how Larry had to petition the parole board, right, in order to reach out to the governor. The governor gave the parole board power to parole. They don't need his permission to issue a parole.
Right.
But if he want to seek a pardon, he still have to go through the parole board. Right? That forces him to do exactly what I said he have to do. Right? Yeah. Nobody didn't know that Larry Hoover never killed nobody and he was in there on a murder case. Nobody hardly know that he never told nobody to kill nobody and he in there on the murder case. Right? So he in there on the murder case and he didn't tell nobody to kill nobody and he didn't kill nobody. And they gave him 200 years for murder.
Right?
Make it make sense. They used the law that said his person was so influential that he didn't have to give the order and somebody would do it for him. And therefore, they said he guilty of murder.
These people were.
All of this is documented. It's not made up.
I mean, we don't like you. We need something to take him down. Let's just say he did it.
Yeah.
With this.
So they charged him with murder for never giving the order to get somebody killed that he didn't even kill. And because the person got killed, he should have gave the order, but since he didn't get the order, we gonna act like he gave the order and proceed as if he actually gave the order when he gave no orders at all.
These people, man.
That's retarded to me.
Yeah.
So when you read the article, it's critical for y'all to read it because that's the receipt. Now I be telling people, they be saying when I don't put the receipt on the screen, I don't got no receipts. I'm telling you where to look for the information. It's gonna tell you exactly what he got to do. Petition the parole board. That's if he want a pardon. The only thing that his legal team need to know now is don't ask for a pardon. Ask for a special parole. He's eligible for special parole.
Right.
If he asks for a pardon, he gonna become a political ping pong ball for Trump and the governor. Right? So the letter is the fraudulent letter, but it got all of the right answers in it. But they know he couldn't have did it, so they can't hold it against him. And they don't even know where the stationery came from. Because all of the stationery sold there is just legal pads. They don't sell specialized stationery, and you can't order it and not at AdMax. Maybe if you was in a state prison or federal prison that was less secure, but in there you would not be able to order it. You can barely get letters from your family.
Please.
Right?
You know letters. You get to read them through a screen.
Yeah. But they got to give them stationery to write. But they don't give out Masonic stationery in federal prison commissary. That's not going to happen. But all of the right instructions is in there. Remember that.
Sound like some York rights, Scottish rights, or something going on back end of it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Whoever wrote the letter knew it was going to get put in the public domain. Once it was put in the public domain, they knew that one of the chiefs was going to reiterate it in the public domain to let them know that the chief got the message. Whoever wrote the letter, because we know it wasn't Larry, because Larry wasn't there.
So they get the Blue House?
It don't matter. The whole thing was whoever wrote it. And I'm saying this for the tribes to see it. I know what I'm talking about, in that we have ways of communicating beyond what's common. The only way that it's actionable to the tribes is it got to be put in the public domain by a competent chief. That's not a bond servant. So whoever sent the letter knew it would make news. And they knew that if it make news, that pushes it into the public domain. Now, the only thing that one of the tribe members got to do is point out the Masonic connection to the letter and point out that the message was heard about the process based on the already established structure and process of how to solicit the governor for a pardon. Going back to what I already said, which shows that I already put it in the public domain.
That's right.
So I'm getting my answer back in the public domain. Now, somebody could have just wrote the article and paid for it to be there and it not even be true just to get the message in the public domain.
But we got it.
Right? So once we reiterate the instructions on the proper procedure for Larry to be released and what his lawyer need to do, and we put it in the public domain, all we got to do is let them follow the process. So they use the commutation sent from President Trump as the compelling cause for special parole. Right? And now they have a valid reason to preempt upcoming parole hearing or have his parole hearing that we scheduled for maybe in a couple of years move to immediate consideration based on the change in the circumstances surrounding the case.
Right.
Right. It's legal maneuvering, following the smartest path based on the structure they already have established. Because the president gave him the commutation, thus a competent grounds to request relief from the parole board, who have jurisdictional authority if you petition for a special parole due to new circumstances. Right? So it's like a dude that have exhausted all his pills, they find out he innocent and then they release him. Right? When they release him, they might not want to retry him because they know he innocent, but they don't want him to sue him, so they'll give him a special parole to let him out early. Larry ain't gonna sue him. Ask for the special consideration.
Go ahead.
Right? And the president is the commander-in-chief of the whole country. That's a good enough reason for the parole board. That's the greatest character letter you could ever ask for. Presidential request.
And
if he signed the pardon, when it's time to see the parole board, he will send a letter on behalf of the freedom of Larry Hoover, or else he wouldn't have commuted his sentence.
Right.
So now the lawyers know that he's watching. All they got to do is, while they asking for special consideration, ask for a letter of recommendation to the parole board for special consideration due to the circumstances surrounding his commutation of sentence. Right? That way you don't have to bring up that he was put in there under the COINTELPRO Act.
Right.
We know it, but this is already an established process that we could exploit to expedite the situation by following the proper steps. Right? So you just ask for a reference letter from the president to the parole board. What CEO not going to take into consideration what the president of the United States say? Right. So what they board members going to do? If the CEO going to take consideration, what the board members going to? Most likely they going to follow pattern. Right. Right. And if they want to make their CEO look good, the board member will follow through with what the president said so that they can make their CEO look like he was really competent when he was a befuddling idiot the whole time. But because they know that'll increase the stock value of their company, right? The board will do it without the permission of the CEO because they have jurisdictional authority in the corporation to execute the function. And the reference from the president gonna make the CEO look good because it's gonna increase the publicity is gonna increase the stock value. Right. Everybody, it works for everybody. Everybody is happy at the end of this. Right. And then the gratitude of the community to the president for sending the recognition might get him another position on the other side of the fall of America as somebody important making decisions and negotiating on behalf of the people. Now that's a way to brown nose right there, ain't it? That's a good way to brown nose. You know, it just makes sense. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. Remember, hey, that's how your ally is your ally because y'all have a common interest or a common enemy. And y'all come together to accomplish the goal in success. It don't mean that once success is acquired that your ally is still your friend. He might never been your friend. Because your ally is looking out for his self-interest and your self-interest equally matched for the maximum amount of gain. Right? So if our self-interest match, we make an alliance and become allies, but we don't gotta like each other and we don't gotta be friends.
Right.
But once the common goal has been accomplished, we might turn into bitter enemies because the next goal might not be a common goal. You understand what I'm saying? So your ally might be offended when you originally was going after their gold, but now you're going after the oil. Oh no, can't have both of them.
Right.
Right. So when the common interest is no longer in common, allies could just become as easily friend as foe. Military strategy. If you don't understand the hierarchy and the ranking system in the military, then you don't know how to strategize. You can't be a toy soldier. You got to be a whole general in this game.
Right.
You can't command the troops not knowing what to do, because they're not going to follow no incoherent orders. Because if the orders are incoherent, they don't know what to do anyway. But soon as the order is coherent and it makes sense, and then the why is explained to them, and you take the exploitation value out of it, where nobody's being done wrong, you give extra vigor and enthusiasm in the soldier to execute the order. Right? And sometimes you have to force the soldier to execute the order in order for the soldier to feel a sense of accomplishment at meeting the goal on their own. That's called trusting them with what you told them to do and get out their way. Right? All this is understanding how to move the troops. Right? It's also culturally embedded in the chiefdoms as we develop into a chief. What kind of chief are we developing in? You got a peace chief, a war chief, you got a scout chief. What kind of chief is you going to evolve in?
Right.
You know? So as you evolve, you study the other chiefs and you look for what none of them is studying to become, because that's what your assignment is. Soon as you realize ain't none of the other chiefs trying to figure this part out right here, that's your part to figure out. Once you get it figured out, you put it in the public so the rest of the chiefs can have access to the information, because it might be able to help them solve the part that they working on. Each one teach one. We all gonna reach something.
Right. Hey, shout out Brother Love, man. OG Brother Love, man. Hey, everybody get up out of here, bro. Hey, we at the 2-hour mark. Another one. After the in the famous words of DJ Khaled, another one. Right? We always dropping them bangers, y'all. Hey, hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. If you want to show Brother Roy Hayes some love, like I said, we got the Cash App on the thing. I think the Cash App back working now. If you've seen your back, send it to the PayPal. If you can send it to the PayPal. We got about 1,500 people on. Everybody send them $5. If you don't want to send them $5, send them $1. That'll put them in the game, right? And we gonna keep this thing going, and because this is what we doing, man. We just trying to finish it up, man. It's just have everybody to where they totally woke on. All we need is mass awareness to win this thing. We don't need to physically fight them. We don't got to set up no camp and none of that. All we got to do is get mass awareness, and it's game over. I'm telling you.
Look, you can see the change in the algorithm over the last few years too, because the whole content of social media now is either about us being the original people or somebody trying to dispute us being the original people.
That's right.
That's the main social media collaboration that's taking place right now.
Right.
So it's going to eventually compel enough of us to investigate to realize who's the truth and who's the falsehood.
That's right.
No, but you always say when the truth from the matter foot, falsehood flee.
Let's go. That's right.
And Rod said when falsehood flee, that's when we throw a rock and bust him upside the back of his head as he get the F on.
Make sure you hit him dead in the back of his head. Make sure you hold one eye open when you throwing that mug. He said, make sure you aiming. You know what I'm saying? Like you got then lean, cop back with it, cop back and open the one eye.
So remember, Trump appointed a pardon czar too. And I'm pretty sure that Larry's lawyer could talk to her, and she might even come down and say something on Larry's behalf. Because she's the one who recommended his pardon. Once the floodgate open, it's open. That's all I can say. Once the floodgate open, ain't no closing it.
Yeah.
We just trying to get it open. We need the old man home. Right? Blue House. Rolling on Trues and Vogues, box Chevy. It's a caddy in the mix. It's a penalty of leadership. A big 50 flip on a gorilla house, gorilla knot, on the post. Pounding on my chest, pounding on the concrete. They can say what they want to say, but we won't be beat. If it's a game of intellect, then I'll intellectually entertain thee. In order for you to see what I see and break us all free.
Go ahead.
You understand? So once the floodgate is open, it's open.
It's already
if we can do it for one, the rest of them walk behind shortly thereafter. One way or the other.
Hey, it's already open. I see. Hey, it's already. We already down here. Ain't no going back up here. We already down here now, baby.
And the immortal words of NEGPIFOR 2, baby, we all gas, no brakes.
Hey, ain't no turning
full
back.
Speed ahead, balls to the wall, no retreat, no surrender. Never give up, never give in. Full throttle ahead, run their ass over like an 18-wheeler.
Man.